Rain hammered against the cracked pavement, like the sky itself was grieving. The wind carried the scent of gasoline, wet asphalt, and heartbreak. A small girl, no older than 7, stood barefoot on the sidewalk outside the Old Mercy General Hospital, clutching a tattered teddy bear to her chest. Her little face was streaked with tears and rain, and her trembling voice broke the night when she cried out, "Those men won't let my mommy in the hospital." Her words sliced through the chaos of honking cars and distant thunder, and that's when fate brought the most unexpected guardians to her side, the Hell's Angels. If you believe that kindness still exists in unexpected places, if you believe in second chances, redemption, and the power of compassion, then take a moment right now to like this video, subscribe to KindHeartsHub, and share it, because this story will remind you that angels sometimes wear leather jackets instead of wings. The night had already been cruel to Emily Turner. Her mother, a single woman battling to make ends meet, had just suffered a severe asthma attack. The local hospital was the only place close enough to save her life, but when Emily and her mom, Sarah, reached the entrance, 2 security guards blocked their way. The hospital was under lockdown due to an internal outbreak. No new patients were allowed in without prior clearance. Emily stood outside, clutching her mother's shaking hand, watching as her breathing grew worse by the second. The guards wouldn't listen, their orders clear: no entry. Desperation is a kind of strength, one born from love and fear colliding. Emily ran out into the storm, screaming for help. The street was nearly empty except for the distant growl of motorcycles rolling through the night. Moments later, the sound grew louder, closer, until headlights flooded the street with blinding light. A group of 6 bikers slowed down at the corner, their leather jackets bearing the unmistakable red and white patch of the Hell's Angels. To most, they were a symbol of rebellion, rough, untouchable, dangerous. But that night, to one little girl, they would become something far greater. Emily's tiny voice cut through the rain. "Please, my mommy can't breathe, they won't let her in." Her sobs shook her small frame. The bikers exchanged looks. Their leader, a tall man with a weathered face and tattoos climbing up his neck, killed the engine and dismounted. His name was Jax Iron Malone, and though he'd lived a life full of mistakes, there was still a spark of decency buried deep in his hardened soul. He knelt down to Emily's level, his rough voice softening as he asked where her mom was. Emily pointed to the hospital doors. Without another word, Jax turned toward the hospital. The guards at the door stiffened as the Hell's Angels approached. The sound of boots splashing through puddles was heavy, deliberate, and full of purpose. "That woman's dying," Jax said firmly. "You either open those doors or I will." The guards hesitated, but protocol ruled their conscience. "Sir, we can't. There's a restriction order." Jax's voice dropped lower, his patience thinning. "Then call whoever you have to, but she's getting in." The rest of the angels stood behind him, silent and solid as stone. The storm roared louder, thunder rolling like an answer to the tension between them. Emily's mother collapsed just then, gasping weakly, her inhaler long spent. That sight broke the last barrier of hesitation. One of the guards, trembling under the weight of the moment, opened the door. They rushed Sarah inside, Jax carrying her in his arms as if she were his own family. Nurses scrambled to get a stretcher, and within seconds, she was surrounded by medical staff. Emily clung to her teddy bear, soaked and shaking, watching as her mother disappeared behind swinging doors. The waiting hours that followed felt eternal. The bikers stayed with Emily in the lobby, their presence a strange but comforting shield. Jax bought her a cup of hot chocolate from the vending machine, though it tasted like metal and sugar. One of the younger bikers, a giant of a man nicknamed Bear, found her a dry blanket from a nurse. These men, tattooed, rough, feared by many, sat quietly in that sterile hallway beside a little girl they had just met, simply because her heart had cried out louder than the rain. When the doctor finally came out, he smiled and told Emily her mother was stable, saved just in time. The little girl burst into tears again, but this time they were tears of relief. She turned to Jax and threw her tiny arms around his leg. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice muffled by his jacket. Jax didn't say a word. He just patted her back gently, his tough hands careful and kind. For the first time in a long while, he felt something pure, something that reminded him of the man he once wanted to be before life turned dark. News of what happened spread quickly. Some people scoffed. How could the infamous Hell's Angels be heroes? But others saw the truth. Under the layers of leather, behind the roaring engines and tough exteriors, they were still human beings with hearts that could be moved by innocence and love. A week later, when Sarah recovered, she asked the hospital to help her find the men who had saved her life. She wanted to thank them, but they were already gone. No headlines, no applause, just tire tracks fading into the horizon and a memory that would never leave her or her daughter. Years passed. Emily grew up to become a nurse at that very same hospital, inspired by the night her mother was saved by strangers who didn't wait for permission to do the right thing. She kept a small patch in her locker, an angel's wing she found the next morning near where the bikes had been parked. She never forgot their faces, especially Jax's eyes, hard yet filled with something unspoken. Sometimes, when she treated patients who were scared or alone, she would whisper to herself, "There are still angels in this world, even if they ride motorcycles." If this story touched your heart, please like this video, subscribe to KindHeartsHub, and share it with someone who needs a reminder that kindness can come from the most unexpected places. Every act of compassion, no matter how small, can change a life.